Well, hello and welcome to the Informed Traveler Podcast, a weekly travel podcast where our goal is to help you become a more informed traveler. I'm your host, Randy Sharman. In a few seconds, travel expert Onanta Forbes will join me to discuss the ongoing debate on which is better, staying at an all-inclusive resort or taking a cruise. And it was actually suggested by one of our listeners, so we'll discuss the pros and cons of both. Plus, we'll head to Costa Rica and learn about the Rio Perdido Resort, which features luxurious forest bungalows dotted across a beautiful 15-acre reserve. It looks absolutely fabulous, so I'm looking forward to learning about that. And Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions will be along to give us a few destination ideas and travel deals with our weekly roundup. But first, let's kick things off chatting with travel expert Onanta Forbes, who joins us each week to discuss some of the travel news and travel trends. You can follow her adventures on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Hi, Onanta.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. We're going to talk about cruises versus all-inclusives. Not that one outdoes the other. There's pros and cons to both. And I guess, and this was actually suggested by a listener who's kind of deciding whether you should go on an all-inclusive or a cruise. I love cruising. I used to be a crew member on the cruise ships, so I'm kind of partial to them. But I do love the all-inclusive, so I like both. How about you?
Yeah, I think I do too. Like it's definitely depending on type of year, where I want to go see, if I want to be active or not active. So there's lots of factors that, goes into picking your vacation. So I think either one that you choose will be a good choice.
Well, I think so. And it's not like to answer the age-old question, which is better, an all-inclusive vacation or a cruise. It depends is the answer, because it really depends on a lot of factors, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you're thinking about going on a cruise, one of the biggest thing that is that the cruise will move to different destinations where the resorts are at one destination. So
Hmm.
for some, that's a huge plus, right? So you
Hmm.
can visit a new place every day on a cruise ship. Um, you can pick your itinerary when you go on off the ship. Like, so for an example, when I say off the ship, like when you're at destination, or when you pick an itinerary that may include leisurely days at seas, which allows you to enjoy the ship's amenities and or just relaxing by the pool or going to the spa. Lots of cruise ships now, you can attest to this, have so many amenities. So it's like a water slide or a go-kart track or a skydiving simulator. So that's kind of a hook as well,
Hmm.
because that can appeal to so many different travelers as far as, if you're traveling as a multi-generational family. And it also, during cruising, um, the ship can actually seek out better weather if something awry is going to happen, like if you're going to head into a hurricane or
Hmm.
something like that. Where on a resort, you're basically at the resort and kind of going through the weather conditions there and hunkering down. Now, you when you pick a cruise, though, just really think about what's included. There's only a few that are truly all inclusive.
Yeah.
So you may be charged for extra for alcoholic beverages or specialty dining, excursions in port. So you may also want to factor that into your budget before picking a cruise. And even with these expenses, cruising can still be an affordable option. There's so many cruise lines and so many itineraries. Everybody's coming up with some special offers. So good thing to work with your travel agent, because they can kind of go through it all and check it out. Now, if you're thinking about going to an all-inclusive, and that's maybe if you want to immerse yourself into a single place, that might be a better choice.
Hmm.
So that's where, you can have locally inspired programming on the property, so you can learn more about the culture and the history. And I know when I go to an all-inclusive to Jamaica, one of the biggest draws is the food. Jamaica has the best food ever in the Caribbean. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure.
You could say that about a lot of destinations about the food. They all have their specific specialties, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
and I think like when you're talking about cost, it's really hard to compare because there is so many different options, and we're not going to, try and go through that because again, a Carnival cruise is a different cost than a Silver Sea cruise, for example. Just the same as a 5-star resort is different than a 3-star resort. So there's too many variables really to go into cost. It all depends on what you're looking for
Right.
and your budget too. But the thing I like about cruising is like what you mentioned. You're going to different ports of call, and the onboard activities are just amazing. Like if you were bored on a cruise ship, that's your own fault, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I will give credit to some all inclusive resorts. They have upped their game as far as entertainment, but it just can't be matched as far as activities cruising versus an all inclusive resort.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as you say, there's both pros and cons to both. So, for an all-inclusive, it just may be easier budgeting and no end of the trip surprises, but you could say that about cruising too. It
Hmm.
really does depend on the type of cruise that you are seeking and what you choose, and also different kind of activities where maybe water sports are offered like at the destination, or being able to have access to sister properties, or golfing, because golfing is really huge
Hmm.
for a vacation choice these days. Not to say that you can't on cruising, because there's companies like Asamara Cruises that work with Perry Gulf, that they will set up golf tea times at
Hmm.
different islands that you visit. So
Hmm.
they kind of are circuitous in a way, and they overlap. But at the end of the day, it's maybe just what you're looking for, as far as being lazy, as being going out and going kayaking or snorkeling or go to the beach. I think what's really nice about today's world, there's a lot of choice.
That's right, and that's a great thing. Now, I will say this about an all-inclusive resort: if you are a claustrophobic type person, there's way more space on a resort than there is on a cruise ship. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Most of the hotel rooms, I will say, just from my own personal experience, are larger than cruise cabins, unless, of course, you can afford a luxury suite on a cruise ship. But yeah, if space is a thing, you might want to look at that. And also, if you have susceptible to motion sickness, maybe all-inclusive resort might be your option. But even then, there are things that you can do to alleviate any motion sickness you might be feeling.
Right. Yeah. And technology has taken cruise ships so far that it's stabilized quite a bit. So hopefully you don't have to endure that, because it's not a good feeling. Absolutely. And we don't want to take away from your enjoyment. And um, service may have a factor in, whether you go on a cruise or whether you
Hmm.
go on a resort. Um, so there's that factor, but that can be said both ways again. So it is, again, both really good choices. And, maybe you will go with all inclusive and then kind of graduate to a cruise, because not only is there ocean cruises, there's river cruises.
That's
So
true.
so it's a different way of experiencing water, in a sense. Like you can either go rivers, or as I say, ocean, and then you're right immersed into the culture on a river cruise, because you're basically docking at the village or town that you want to explore, and then you can walk easily off the boat to go
Hmm.
and enjoy that.
Well, you make a good point about river cruising because if you wanted to explore Europe, for example, and you're lazy like me and don't want to rent a car or do rail or whatever, a river cruise is perfect.
Yes, it really is. It's a really a fast growing um, choice for guests right now. And they are so popular because the ships aren't that big, that
Yeah.
they book up 1 to 2 years in advance. So again, consider that. And I think it just boils down to, it could be based on price, but I would recommend you looking at the best value in terms of vacation satisfaction as well. And also, reach out to your travel agent because getting their advice, who's knowledgeable about different resorts and ships, as well as the trip that meets your budget and holiday preferences, might be the easiest way to get the best value for your vacation dollar.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And so going back to the age-old question, which is better, all-inclusive resort or cruising? It depends.
Yes, it
It
does. It
depends on a lot.
does.
So yeah, a good travel advisor is probably the best advice of all. Onanta Forbes is a travel expert. You can follow her on Instagram, Facebook, and X at Onanta Forbes. OnantaForbes.com is her website. Thanks, Onanta. It was fun.
It always is. Thanks. Have a good week.
Well, let's head to Costa Rica now to learn about a luxurious resort nestled in the middle of a tropical dry forest surrounded by lush jungle and volcanic springs. It's called the Rio Perdido and looks absolutely beautiful. So joining us now to tell us more about it is Gabriel Saragovia. He is the founder of Rio Perdido. The website is rioperdido.com. Hi, Gabriel.
Hi, Randy.
I was looking at some of the images on your website, rioperdido.com. Simply spectacular. Before we get into describing all the things you do, just tell me the basics. Where is it located? How do you get there?
Randy, so a lot of people know already of Guanacaste. Everybody that knows of Guanacaste generally arrives at the airport and heads out west to the coast. However, there is, and I've really gone through the whole country because this is what I love to do in my spare time. I've gotten lost, which the word is perdido. It's part of our name. I've gotten lost all over the country, and perhaps my favorite part of the country is an area that's interestingly very close to the airport, going to the east of Guanacaste, of that province. But very, very few people know it. We kind of want to keep it that way. We don't want it to be developed like other parts of, touristic areas of Latin America. So we're doing our best to protect it, but it is absolutely breathtaking. And again, in a province that has been discovered and that has become a little bit less off the beaten track and a little bit more known,
Mm-hmm.
this eastern part of the province is still largely unknown, unexploited, just absolutely breathtaking and different than what people are expecting.
Well, it is breathtaking. Again, people can check the images out at rioperdido.com. But tell me about the bungalows, how many you have. They look just amazing.
Thank you, Randy. So, actually, before we even talk about the bungalows, it's important to distinguish what actually differentiates Rio Perdido from so many other beautiful projects around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that within our what is now 1,500 acre reserve runs a hot river at the base of a canyon. So imagine being in these bungalows, which we can describe in a moment, and having kind of being very close to this cliffside and descending about 150 feet down this cliff below your bungalow and arriving at a transparent, beautiful, hot river where the springs, where if you walk about, 800 feet upstream, you come to the actual points in the river where this amazing hot water just comes out of the rocky walls and out of the floor of the river. So it's something that, I hadn't seen it quite like this. And I expect that, even the people that have been to thermal springs in Japan, in all over the United States, like in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
in British Columbia, in Eastern Europe, there's so many beautiful thermal springs, but there's really nothing like this. This is a thermal canyon with 300 liters per second of hot water emanating. It's unbelievable.
Well, that sounds amazing. Describe for me how many bungalows you have, how many people you can accommodate.
Yeah, so we have 30 bungalows in two categories. The original East bungalows, which have this really glamping-like feel.
Mm-hmm.
But don't think that means you have to give up some of the comforts that you would associate with with more luxurious eco lodge type accommodation. So
Hmm.
they're glamping like, but they're super comfortable. So we have 20 of those. So those are the East bungalows. And then in the middle of 2018, we inaugurated 10 new units that we refer to as the center bungalows because they're in the center of this river peninsula, raised above these two rivers, the hot and the cold rivers. And those are the center bungalows are a slightly different concept. I think you had mentioned prior something about the windows, the gigantic windows that separate a comfortable interior from this
Hmm.
beautiful, lush forest outside. And
Hmm.
the center bungalow has this. It has like a 40-foot and floor to ceiling glass wall, basically. That because the room is made out of these amazing locally sourced materials that tend to be darker, so you kind of have this black box feel where the lush greenness of the exterior is projecting into the inside of the room. It's breathtaking. It induces restfulness. It's just very special.
Yeah, again, it looks amazing. Talk about some of the amenities offered. Obviously, if you got the hot water, uh, that's a pretty good amenity right there.
So yes, of course, that is a key element that most, 100% of our guests are going to take advantage of that because it's medicinal and it's right
Hmm.
there and it only occurs there. Um, the we are known as a wellness sanctuary, but we're also known as an adventure destination. Classically, classic outdoor adventure, and this is because we have all sorts of activities that are considered to be high adventure, but there's really something for everybody. For example, we have around 25 miles of trails, which actually now that we're building a bridge to some of our newer properties, that'll double. And these are used for anything from hiking to trail running. By the way, we're a training ground for Central America's leading trail runners. They come to Rio Perdido to practice for a variety of reasons that we can go into later, besides the fact that it's absolutely beautiful. And we also have some of the best mountain biking in Latin America. I always, I know that it's a very subjective thing to say, but I am an avid mountain biker. I've been all over the world mountain biking.
Hmm.
And for me, in this country, in this region, there's nothing like the single track that we have on our property, on our reserves. They're extraordinary. And if you want to compare it to something that a lot of people might be a little familiar with, I don't know if you've ever been to Moab, Utah. So if people that know Moab can picture a more tropical version of that single track, that would be it.
Hmm.
And that's how epic the trails are. And in addition to the hiking, trail running, and amazing biking, we also have something we call the Canyon Adventure, which also occurs within the property, which includes zip lines, via ferratas, Tarzan swings, all the fun stuff. Not for the faint of heart, but at the same time, a lot more mellow than some of the other places that do similar things in the region.
Nice.
We made it so that it's more about the beautiful scenery than the adrenaline. And
Hmm.
then finally, we have something called whitewater tubing, also occurs within the property. So I mentioned the hot river, but in the property, we also have a cold river, and it actually runs for miles within the property. So we do this whitewater tubing about 9 or 10 months out of the year. There's a couple of months where we usually have to stop, either because we have too much water, and for the safety of our guests, we decide not to run it,
Hmm.
or because there's too little water.
Hmm.
Like right now, it just started raining again a little bit, so we have increasing water levels, fortunately. But in most of March and April, it was very difficult to run this tour. But it is absolutely spectacular as well.
So, who is your average guest? I mean, some of the things you described would be great for, younger people with young children, not super young children, but like teenagers or whatever. Or is it for more couples or for anybody?
All right, so that's you went right on point there. When we first opened up, we were for all ages, and we never had an accident. But we realized that the bulk of our guests were either couples a lot of honeymooners, a lot of people celebrating 10, 20 years of marriage. All of them have either a very strong appreciation for nature or a love for adventure, or usually both of the above. And then the people that came with children, the ones that were able to really take advantage of it, were definitely not coming in with the younger children,
Mhm.
because a lot of the activities are not ideal for young children. Even though we've in the beginning we used to have 4-year-olds participate on in the in the zip lines, there was a small percentage of younger children that got scared, and it
Yeah.
was complicated for the other people on the tour. So we decided eventually, over the years, uh, to get where we are now, which we are a 12 plus property. It means that if you're traveling with children 11 years old or younger, we do not accept the reservations, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And it is a little sad because I have a lot of family, including my own kids, which just turned 12 and 15. But so my children weren't going. We weren't going as a family to Rio Perdido. It's not something that we were applying. We were just trying to make it optimal for the majority
Mhm.
of our guests. And we found that even though young children love Rio Perdido, I mean, you see like 2 and 3-year-olds in the warm river, and they're just the look in their faces is amazing. But we made this very difficult decision, and we feel that it's been a great decision.
Yeah, I would think so too. Um, I would think at nighttime, because there's a lot of talk about dark sky areas. The
Yes.
night sky must be just amazing.
It is spectacular, especially from early December until now. But we also have this very dry, surprisingly dry season at the end of like the latter half of July and the first half of August. That's when the sky is clearest, and during those months, you can see the Milky Way. You can see everything. It's unbelievable. And we
Hmm.
do have a couple of telescopes. We pull them out occasionally, and people love it. You're able to connect your iPhone to the telescope and just take photographs of whatever it is you're looking at. Um, People love to look at the moon because you get such clarity. You can see every little crater. So it is a wonderful spot to do some stargazing. And even if you're not looking up at the sky, just being outdoors at night is is very magical. And we do a lot of nocturnal activities.
I would think so. It'd just be amazing. Speaking of iPhones, do you offer the modern amenities too, like Wi-Fi and all those things that people seem to need daily now?
Oh yeah, we were actually a beta test for the local electrical and communications companies. We invested in about 26, 27 kilometers of fiber optic cable, which was obviously a massive investment. But we wanted our people, like when I go there, if I get a day where I don't have to work, because unfortunately when I go there I have to I have a lot of stuff to do. But when I can, I disconnect my phone. I put it on airplane mode. But for people that do come to work at Rio Perdido, and we welcome a lot of people that are constantly on the road or just work from abroad,
Hmm.
and the famous digital nomads. We've had quite a few of them, and some of them travel on their own, and they need great bandwidth, and we provide that for them.
Nice.
So I always tell them, guys, if you can just take the weekend off, shut everything down, and enjoy a little bit of no electromagnetic field time for yourself and your family, that would be fantastic. And they do.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned some of the different seasons. When is the best time to visit? I guess it depends on what you're looking for, right?
Right. We have one of my favorite rivers nearby. That's not on the property, but we do run a couple of off the property experiences. So, like the main river right now, and for many years in Rio Perdido, was the Pacuara River, and it's a nice river, but over time it's become very highly touristed. Some of the properties that go to the riverbank have been either developed or turned into cattle grounds. So it doesn't have the magic that it did when I first went down that river about 32 years ago. And again, I'm not bashing that river at all. I'm just thinking that next to Rio Perdido, we have the Tenorio River, which is completely, uh, you know, underexploited. Thank God. It's a very beautiful river, and when you're on the river, you feel like you're in this place that is truly wild on your own. You might run into another raft, but again, it's not like the other big rivers around the world that are famous for rafting. This is a river that is epic, beautiful, awesome rapids and currents, safe, and just gorgeous right next to our property. Um, and for you to get the optimal experience in those rivers, you don't want it to be dry season. So again, like you said, depending on what you're looking for, I would say that it's a 365-day-a-year experience. Because when it's sunniest, also, if you're an avid trail runner, hiker, or biker, you want that beautiful 30-minute or 60-minute afternoon shower. A lot of people avoid Costa Rica in the ultra wet months, which are
Mhm.
August, September, October, and I tell them, don't look at weather.com. Don't look at the weather app on the iPhone, because it is absolutely misleading. They don't have information on like real information on Costa Rica, because we don't have the technology for connectivity with them.
Mhm.
So what they do, if you look at it, it's like you would think that it was like the end of the world if you look at that information, and it's not like that. Like it'll basically say 100% thunder showers from here until December, and that's not the case. The case is that in Costa Rica, in wet season, you have beautiful sunny mornings, and then you have these wonderful, refreshing rain showers sometime in the afternoon, and it actually is it's a pleasant element, because
Mhm.
you get to cool down. I have friends that actually go jogging in the rain. They specifically wait for the rain to come down so they can go for a jog. It's so nice. And it can get, like, if you go really early in the morning and it happens to rain, it can actually get a little chilly. It can be in the mid 70s or low 70s at that time in the morning. But for guys that are doing, a 20, 30-mile trail run,
Mhm.
that is a very, it's a welcoming weather.
Yeah, exactly. We forgot about the food and that you serve there. There's some amazing video on your website.
Yes. So the food, the drink, and whether it's coffee or tea, or our infusions, or even the mixology, the cocktails that we serve, they're all made by amazing professionals, young, experienced, charismatic individuals that love what they do. We have a brand new fully organic garden where we're doing biodynamics, where we're doing our own type of focaccia, our special soils that are teeming with microorganisms, beneficial microorganisms, of course, with earthworms. And we do all this scientific work completely chemical free with our own compost on the property. And we have not your, most important 5 or 6 herbs, but we have, dozens of herbs. And I'm sure that we would have very few guests that would know the names and the origins and the things that we're serving that are grown inside of this beautiful organic medicinal herb garden. That's about at least 2 acres in size already, and is amazing. Again, we are actually not only serving our guests uh, literally our own farm to table, but we're also teaching our employees how to bring organic farming, sadly, back to their counties. And we live in Bagas. This is Bagas's county, which was a historically agricultural land. And ironically and sadly, like what has happened to most of the world, they become very dependent on chemicals. They were sold on the idea that it was a way to increase yield and to produce better food. And we now know that this is far from the truth. Not only better food, but the yields. So now we are producing like 10 times more than we expected to produce from such a young garden. And we're actually having to give away or sell a lot of what we're producing because our kitchen is not big enough, and we have so few guests that we just have too much production. So we're very proud of that we're taking this all back to the people and to our guests.
Well, it all sounds amazing. People can check out your website, see the videos and the images, rioperdido.com. And Gabriel Saragovia is the founder of Rio Perdido Resort in Costa Rica. It all sounds amazing, Gabriel.
Thank you so much, Rand.
This is the Informed Traveler Podcast. I'm Randy Sharman. Just want to remind you of our website, theinformedtraveler.org. That's where you can find our contact page if you have any questions or comments about the podcast. You can also email me as well with any questions you might have. My email address is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you want to get up-to-date travel info through the week or just see a few amusing travel stories and links, you can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/informedtraveler. Or you can follow me on X at Informed Traveler. So now, as always, like to end the show with our weekly roundup, and joining us to do that is Ken Stewart from Crowfoot Travel Solutions. What do you have for us this week?
We've got some good stuff this week. Air Canada Vacations just announced they're now doing new guided tours to India. A bucket list item for a lot of people. Departing from Delhi, it can help introduce travelers to one of the world's most incredible destinations, with stops like at the Taj Mahal, which everybody's all heard about, locales like Rajasthan, Punjab, Goa, Ladakh, Nepal. Got breakfast and dinner included in every package. And as well, reminder, you're always going to earn your Aeroplan points. And on occasions, there are bonus Aeroplan points you can earn on a lot of these bookings. And if you're a member of our Travel Club, and a lot of times, too, if you have a bunch of your own Aeroplan points, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but I think this is really cool and a good way to save yourself some money. You can convert those into gift cards. So we can help you apply as much as you want for any kind of Air Canada vacation package, be it the one in India, maybe something in Europe, a beach holiday, Canada or the U.S. And right now, until June 2nd, Air Canada Vacations is also throwing in their best price guarantee, win-win for you, on all flight and hotel packages to Canada, Europe, and the U.S.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, lots of really good stuff going on there. Now that we're into what suppliers consider the spring-fall season, if you didn't get away this past fall or winter and you want to get away next year, now's the real time to really start looking, because we've pretty much got everything in there and what they consider their fall-winter season until April. We can start getting look at you getting away for 2025. And right now, like I say, being up into April, that's kind of the end of that season. But still a couple things where we're waiting for flights, but a lot of the resorts and everything in there. And if you're thinking of anything like around Christmas, you got New Year's, Family Day, they're already selling really, really well. And a lot of resorts are almost sold out. So again, if you're thinking about trying to get away next year, now's the time to start thinking about it, and let's have some discussions.
Yeah, well, it's always fun to look into next year and see where can we go, what can we do, and look at some dates, and it's fun to do that.
Exactly. Get her locked in.
Yeah.
Emerald River and Yacht Cruises still got some great space on select 2024 yacht dates. And right now, their second guest is going to sail free.
Ooh.
And the sailings are almost all inclusive. So once you get on, you're not a lot you have to worry about. So maybe you're thinking of the Leeward Islands in the Caribbean, or head over to the Med, the French-Italian Riviera. And they also have a really cool Med cruise one that goes from Athens to Dubrovnik over in Croatia. Just a few that you can choose from. So some really great itineraries.
So if a second guest is free, if there's four of you, does that mean the fourth guest is free as well? How
If you're doing two cabins.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Get a couple. Or take the family and put the kids in their own room.
Yeah, I like that.
TTC's Travel, we talk a lot about them, but you probably know them by names like Trafalgar, Cost Saver, Insight Vacations, Luxury Gold, Brendan Tours, all have their specialties and great tours worldwide. Whether it's a last-minute spring getaway or summer vacation, want to explore some new destinations this fall. Right now, up to $4,000 on 250 of their worldwide tours across their portfolio, and include the air, throw in another $200 per person when you throw that airfare in, if you book by May 30th. So we still got some time left on that.
Nice. I like that too.
And if you've ever thought and looking at one of these guys and you want to get a little more information besides talking to a travel agent, they're coming to town. They're coming to Calgary. They're going to be at the Cardell Theatre on the night of May 29th this week from 6 to 8:30. So if you want to go, give us a shout or send us an email, and we'll hook you up and get you registered.
Sounds good.
New bookings by May 31st for select sailings with Viking River Cruises for November and December again. A lot of little last-minute 2024s this year, which is good to see. Both river and ocean ships receive reduced airfare, complimentary spirits beverage package, and a free stateroom upgrade. So some little extras thrown in there if you've got some time to get away and you've got some thoughts on doing something with Viking.
Mm-hmm.
Holland America Cruises as well got their exotic destinations up to 50% off, $300 onboard credit and more, reaching remote and remarkable ports, Bali and Papeete, over in Tahiti, neon wonders of Singapore's gardens, and you're doing the South Pacific there, or sorry, the Southeast Asia. Maybe taking Sydney Skyline if you wanted to do Australia. You can walk across the Harbour Bridge on an extra day there. Soak up some sunshine with the stars down in Rio de Janeiro on Copacabana Beach. So
Very
again, a lot of
nice.
those exotics on sale.
Nice. I like that. And I like Holland America too.
Public again, our cruising partner in the South Pacific, still has a few days left until May 24th, so a short window on this one. Limited spring into Tahiti promotion includes round trip airfare from Los Angeles to Papeete, easy add-on to get you down there from Calgary or anywhere here in Western Canada. On Air Tahiti Nui, so pre and post cruise day rooms at the Intercontinental Resort, which is great after you travel for a long flight down there.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the flights don't leave until late at night, so they've got that looked after for you. You got transfers between the ship, airport, and hotel, plus all-inclusive sailing, spending an extra few days. Maybe in your case, you're going to take the wife and you're going to go to Bora Bora for an extra couple days.
Yes, we will. It is number one on her bucket list.
Uniworld River Cruises boutique-style ships. I want you to know you've still got some time from October 3rd to November 26th, 24 for your first sailing in Lima. They've got their long haul, what we call grand voyages, 54 nights. So you're going to start sailing in Lima. Then you're going to fly over to Europe. You're going to do 2 sailings over in Europe. And then you're going to fly over to Ho Chi Minh City for your last cruise in Southeast Asia. So again, 54 nights altogether, 4 different ships. All the flights are between the cruises are all included, as well as welcome farewell events and special and exclusive experiences that aren't part of the normal cruises that they do in this area, which are already over the top and really, really well known.
That would be really cool. That's like a trip of a lifetime there.
It is.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
54 nights is, that's a long time, but that's not too bad.
No.
It's not like 128 days on a cruise ship.
Well, once you're in the groove and it's like, where are we going next?
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And just a quick reminder, online pricing is almost identical. What any agent can find for you if they're worth their salt. But not only can they assist you with some help, asking some questions and everything, because a lot of times you ask the computer a question, it's not really going to talk back with you or might not think of something to ask you in particular. And then we can also assist during and if necessary after the trip. So, and when you're booking online, you're definitely still working with a travel agent, but it's a computer, not that personalized service and conversation. So looking after everything by yourself and supporting yourself when you're traveling rather than have somebody have your back. And if you've never used a real life travel agent, try one. Might like how easy the process is and how much more enjoyable in the end your vacation was too. So give it a thought. Give us a call.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's, if you talk to a travel agent enough, they get to know you and what your likes are and what your dislikes are. So it is personalized service. It's good. What's that number, though?
If you're in Calgary, you can call us at 403-241-7140. And outside of Calgary, toll free 1-800-577-5511. Relax. It's all taken care of.
And that is our show for this week. If you have comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a show idea, send that along as well. My email is randy@theinformedtraveler.org. And if you like what you heard, tell a friend. You can check out our website too at theinformedtraveler.org. In the meantime, thanks for listening, travel safe, and be an informed traveler.